Welcome back to 442, where today we'll be talking Liverpool's latest contract rejection, Pogba's latest return to football, Chelsea signing a 13-year-old, plus much more. I'm 𝗕𝗏𝗡𝗍𝗏, and here's what's on our feed. Right then, let's kick things off with a very good summer for Liverpool that may have turned a little bit sour, and it's 𝗕𝗫𝗏𝗔 Konate. I've seen a load of reports saying that he has rejected Liverpool's latest contract offer, and not only that, but he's disappointed. That's not when you do something bad and your parents are like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. That would have really hurt Liverpool. And apparently, it's hurt a lot of Liverpool fans as well, because I'm seeing them absolutely blowing up in the Twitter comment section, saying they're done with him. Nobody gets angry at their own players like Liverpool fans do once they decide or once they find out that this player could potentially leave. Anyway, it's all to do with wages, as is so often the case these days. Konate's on 70k per week. He wants around 200k per week, which is a massive jump. And apparently Liverpool want to offer something like 130,000 per week. To be honest, I totally get it. Like, yes, this is in their own little bubble, and 70,000 per week is more than enough to live off. It's more than most of us will earn in a year or two. But the likes of Joe Gomez, 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 and Chiesa are all earning way more than Konate. And Konate is, in a best Liverpool 11 this season, maybe even last season as well, the best centre-back pairing with Van Dijk that Liverpool have. He's their second best defender. They're relying on him. So the fact that he's only on 70,000 is actually a bit harsh. And then when you throw on the fact that they have spent so much money already this summer, the hundreds of millions on the likes of 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏 is coming in, Frimpong as well, that's not even discussing the amount of money that's then put forward on wages as well. Totally normal, by the way, not calling Liverpool out for this. They're signing top quality players and you have to pay big money. If they were signing Konate now, they'd offer him a load of money. They'd put him on a very high wage because he's their starting centre-back in a title-winning team. So why wouldn't they go and do it now? On top of this, he's 26 years old. He's coming into his prime. I think he's at the perfect age for a massive, massive contract. And the issue that Liverpool have got is if they don't go ahead and sign him to a new long-term deal, remember it runs out in 12 months, PSG, Real Madrid, even someone else in the Premier League, which seems kind of unthinkable, can all offer ridiculous wages. Konate will literally have to pick up the phone to Trent Alexander-Arnold and be like, hey mate, how much more are you getting at Real Madrid than you were at Liverpool? And I'm sure he'll have his answer very, very quickly. Obviously, Liverpool don't want that to happen. That will sort of be massive for them. To lose another player on a free next summer to Real Madrid, like the second year in a row, it's not a good look. It's not a very good look, and I wonder at what point do potentially Liverpool fans go, you know what, I'm sick of this. The club's got to do something about it. Because if he's not going to sign, you've got to sell him. You have got to sell him this transfer window. Well, the good thing is about Konate, like I said, I think he's unbelievable. One of the top 5 centre-backs in the Premier League, definitely. Top 10 in Europe. So even though there's 1 year left, paying 30-40 million for him is a pretty good deal. And what a time to be a Liverpool fan. Not only have you proved it on the pitch by winning the title, but then to go and win the transfer window. It seems like every time we do a video, there's just more Liverpool news. No other team is doing anything. Liverpool in the Premier League, certainly. Liverpool are just streets away of everyone else in this transfer window. Moving on to the next one, we were back on Instagram, checking out some of the latest content that flies around on our feed. Hence the name of the show, obviously. Paul Pogba. He's back. Pogback. Monaco are the latest team to take a punt on the former Manchester United and Juventus man. And I kind of like it. When I say I kind of like it, I'm here for it. I am here for Paul Pogba to return, to get back to his very best, and why not in his home country? He's never played in Ligue, and when you put him in a French setting, like the French national team, he's unbelievable. It was day and night between club-level United Pogba and French national team Pogba that we were seeing in the World Cup 2018. He's unbelievable. We know that. Monaco just seems like a good place for him to go. You know, maybe even dismantle PSG at the top of Ligue. Okay, that was ridiculous. That was me being stupid. I know, PSG is streets ahead. But regardless, Pogba back. Ansu Fati joining the club. They've got 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏 in that attacking final third as well. They are the team to watch in the Champions League football next season. They are the team to watch in the Champions League next season. Honestly, all three of them, under 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏 as well, a very good manager. I think they're going to be a very, very interesting team to watch. Watch this space. And also, Paul Pogba on a free transfer. He loves a free, doesn't he? My God. From the sensible one, Paul Pogba, to the downright ridiculous, this is the definition of games gone when Chelsea are paying 750k, cheap in today's money, unless it's for a 13-year-old. A 13-year-old South African wonder kid, 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗧𝗏. I think it's pronounced Shaper. Granted, he scored 45 goals and got 65 assists for Blackburn Rovers youth team this season. I just can't think of a world in where paying 750 grand for a kid is doing anything beneficial to them. Like, surely, and this isn't Chelsea's fault, by the way, I get this is just the way like football economy works these days. Surely there's something that benefits the player's development where he can move on to a higher level and then some sort of fee is owed to Blackburn in the future, like upon, I don't know, appearances or upon turning 16 and still being in the Chelsea academy. Like, to attach that price tag to a 13-year-old these days is just not a very good thing. But I also think that Chelsea obviously have other parameters which they're looking at for a 13-year-old, like to go ahead and make this decision. Because just saying that he's really good at 13, he's playing against other 13-year-olds. While some of them are quite good, he's playing against an age group where there are very, very few who are very good. So when you're extra talented like this child obviously is, he's going to stick out a lot more than if he was good at 18, where the competition's even tougher. So yeah, maybe just like, I don't know, move the transfer fee to an older age. It just seems crazy. They actually beat Manchester City, who have previous in doing this. I believe they paid £1 million for a 14-year-old. At what point is there some sort of like labour laws that are going to come into effect, like child labour, not politics stuff, that really stops people from paying so much money for 13-year-old kids? So Thibaut Courtois at half-time in their match recently called out 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝗀𝗧𝗏 for getting sent off in the 7th minute, saying, you know, he's inexperienced, he got caught, he got a red card. Totally understandable, by the way. But isn't this the sort of conversation that should be going on in the dressing room? Like, the most ridiculous thing about this isn't Thibaut Courtois, isn't what Asensio did, isn't him calling him out. The headline is the fact that there's an interview at half-time in the first place. But yeah, I'm not here for half-time interviews. I don't need to hear about it. They've probably got somewhere better to be. And also, this has to be the most short-lived content of all time. Because surely after that 15-minute break, whatever happens in the second half pretty much renders the half-time speech redundant. Although here I am talking about it right now. Well played, Club World Cup. Well played. You got me on that one. Anyway, the other Real Madrid ridiculous interview was Jude Bellingham calling out the pitches. The reason I find it ridiculous is, well, it's rather funny, is that players always seem to call something out or take the moral high ground after a victory, because you can't do it after a loss. If Real Madrid lose and Bellingham complains about the pitches, everyone's like, what an excuse. You're complaining because you lost, you're rubbish, get on with it. Same for both teams, blah, blah, blah. And it basically makes the whole complaint redundant. But when you've done it, when you've won, it's like, oh, wow, they won and they're still complaining. This must be a serious complaint. Like, FIFA are saying this is the best club tournament in the world. They're hosting the World Cup there next year. If you want the best possible matches, the most entertaining football, you provide the best facilities. That includes the football pitches. Dortmund made their substitutes watch the first half from the dressing room. 32-degree heat, which is very hot when you're like walking around and like me, you know, getting really sweaty, walking around on the day-to-day. Never mind playing a football match. Never mind running around sprinting for 90 minutes in 32-degree heat. So yeah, Dortmund players, the substitutes, watched the first half from the dressing room and got absolutely ripped to shit in the comments. People calling them softies, people saying the South Americans can deal with it and it's Europeans just being weak. One person actually did make a very good point and asked what happens when the substitutes are going to be brought on. Doesn't normally happen in the first half, granted, but if they had an injury or something, they just call back and a sub just runs out like some sort of WWE intro. Like they just sprint down the tunnel, run straight out onto the pitch. Be amazing. But yeah, it is a very, very valid point. Like, it's ridiculously hot. How is this going to, you know, affect the World Cup next summer? And what is really going to be done about it? Because you can't just have a few people who are used to it and a few who aren't. Last time at the Qatar World Cup saying, we're going to interrupt the middle of the season because it's too hot to play in Qatar in the summer. Fair enough. They actually did it. Yes, it was still very hot. They played a lot of games at night. It was pretty cool for most fans and most players. They played in, you know, when was it? November, December. So something to think about definitely for the organisers of the World Cup. Sort out the pitch and make sure the players aren't passing out on the field when it's too damn hot. But we'll wrap up though. I'm not having to go at Italian football, but this is just so Italian football. With the fact that their playoff game in Serie B got suspended. This is the relegation playoff between Sampdoria and Salernitana to see which one would get relegated. And there's this whole huge backstory to it. It's not even just that this game got called off. So Sampdoria were going to get relegated. Brescia got an 8-point deduction towards the end of the season, which then meant that they got relegated. Sampdoria finished 17th, and they have a playoff with 16th, which is Salernitana, only if they are within 4 points of each other. Then it's deemed unfair if one of them is streaks ahead of the other, so 17th goes down as well as the 4th relegation spot. However, there were a few points within each other. Sampdoria played Salernitana, who are facing back-to-back relegation. Sampdoria won 2-0 in the first leg, and ahead of the second leg, there was mass food poisoning throughout the Salernitana squad. The game was postponed for 48 hours. They then played it. Sampdoria then went 2-0 up again, so it's 4-0 in aggregate. Well, the game was abandoned, suspended, called off. It looks like Sampdoria are going to get a 3-0 win, so it's actually 5-0 in aggregate. Both teams just falling down this low is quite sad, especially for Sampdoria, who were a massive team over the last 30 years. You know, they've even won Serie A in the early 90s. But it was just blowing up the internet at the weekend. And it was all over our feed, from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook. As was that really nice story, very quickly before we go, about Santi Cazorla helping Real Oviedo, his hometown club at the age of 41, back to La Liga with a promotion. That's some good news, but it's like nice good news. It's not as wacky as the Italian football stuff. Anyway, that's all from me for this week. That's all from me for what's on our feed. Make sure you stick around for the next 442 video and all the upcoming content that we've got over the summer. But until next time, I'll see you in the next video.